Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 011111911.
Over and he had a bag in his back seat, and it said, "This bag is definitely not filled with drugs." And then they opened it up and had drugs in it. One yeah, it happened again. Another Floridian. God, I know why you want to move to Florida because you want to be the smartest person there. A 31-year-old woman in Florida was arrested last weekend on drug possession charges for the second time this month, and this is the third time I know it's happened. She was caught carrying drugs in a bag that was labeled "definitely not a bag full of drugs." Oh wait, she's been arrested for this before?
I thought the original story was in Oregon.
It probably was.
So wait, this is a trend amongst drug users?
Druggies, yeah.
Is this their like humble brag that they do drugs? Is the fact that they're like, oh yeah, this is not my bag full of drugs. Ha 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 ha. Like you always see people driving around cars that have like Dare bumper stickers on them. You're like, nope, that is not a Dare. That is not
this happened back in October. It was the same bag. So somebody just manufactures these bags that say this is definitely not a bag full of drugs. And so this woman had bought one. The other person was in Oregon. And then there was a woman caught in July with drugs in a bag labeled "bag of drugs." So they stopped her at the airport. You remember? The TSA saw the bag of drugs. They're like, hey, we're going to look in here. And they looked inside of it. And of course, they found drugs and she was arrested.
Oh my God. I'm looking at the bag right now. And it is, yeah, you're right. This is something like you buy on Amazon or something like that. Yeah. Right there.
So if we can give you a little advice, and I'm not the smartest person you're ever going to listen to.
Not a bag full of drugs.
If you have this bag, don't put drugs in it.
It is okay. This is
put
how
your socks and underwear in it. I don't know. Put something else in it. Don't put. I guess if you really want to delay yourself, put some vitamins in it and make them really test it. But
Andes Press funny makeup bag, canvas cosmetic bag with zipper. Definitely not a bag full of drugs. Makeup pouch for purse, travel, toiletry, travel. You want this in your travel? Really? Seriously? Funny pencil bag, cute birthday gifts for women. And this is something that's manufactured. You could buy it for $14. Like, you can't think that this is a good idea if you're going to really put drugs in it. I mean, like, what are you thinking?
I mean, it's stupid to try to get away with it anyways, whether it says this is not drugs or this is a bag of drugs or whatever.
What is sick and twisted is there's only 9 left in stock. And I don't know if that's because they're not as popular because people are getting arrested with it, or they're super popular because people are getting arrested with it.
Well, the thing is, they're taking it to the airport, to the TSA, where they have drug-sniffing dogs. I don't understand why people like, oh, they're not going to catch me.
It says right there. Definitely not a bag full of drugs. Why would they search that, right?
93.3 KZOZ rocks. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
I ran across this headline, and I thought, oh, I'm going to check this out because this reminds me of Jeff. And this was something somebody posted on Reddit, so I don't know what the validity is, but it makes complete sense, all right? And the headline is, these are dead giveaways that someone grew up as a only child. And I'm like, oh, I know one of those. So Jeff, grew up as an only child. And I'm looking at this list, and it says they're very content with being alone for extended periods of time.
Yes.
And I'm always thinking about you talking about you don't want to go to concerts with people. You want to go by yourself. You want to golf by yourself. Like, I'm like, God, do you hate people? You're like, yeah, kind of. But when you grow up, it's because you didn't have a brother or sister in the house with you.
I even drink alone from time to time. Enjoy that glass of whiskey.
No.
After everyone goes to bed.
They eat their food leisurely. You are the slowest eater I know. When it comes to being a guy, anyways. I mean, you eat like a girl.
My family nuts.
You eat, yeah. I mean, I remember. Yeah, my wife eats really slow, and I just know because I've been around girls my whole life. I didn't have a sister, but I had a lot of friends that were girls when I was younger. And we'd all eat lunch together anyways. And I remember, God, Christy McGlulian, she would just literally take a sandwich every day. And it would amaze me. It would annoy other people. But she would just take a pinch out of the bread and eat it. I don't even think she finished half the sandwich by the time lunch was over.
No. That's fine. You eat slow, you stay.
She picked the tomato, the lettuce, the meat off. I mean, everything was just with her fingers. It's like weird, like a bird. Let's see here.
Yeah, my son, it's funny because my son has a sibling, his sister. She doesn't go attack his food, but I think there's an inherent risk that she might if he doesn't finish. He's a very fast eater. She's a very slow eater like me. Maybe because she was first in line for a short period of time. 3.5 years. She was an only child. And she's a very slow eater. I'd like to see a study of like kids that eat, like that aren't, if they have a little bit of space between them and their siblings, if the very first one in line is a slow eater versus the next, how many ever in line are. Because I used to have a friend, Mike, he had tons of brothers and sisters, and we would have like sleepovers at like friends' houses and stuff like that. And I remember one time he was eating his cereal and he had like King Kong. He had his arm out in front of the cereal bowl and was like constantly looking over his shoulder and digging in and shoveling the cereal.
And ready to stab anybody with that spoon if they got close.
And I'm like, why do you eat like that? You think anybody's going to steal your cereal? He's like, dude, I got brothers, dude. They would steal my cereal or grab it and throw it in the sink or something like that. Like, yes. I'm like, wow, that is intense. That is insane.
What do your kids do with their Halloween candy every year after they're home?
They sort it out and
together or separately?
Together on the ground, okay. And then they will put it in Ziploc bags and write their names on the Ziploc bags.
Oh, okay, all right. Most kids take their like a single kid like you just leave their candy laying around anywhere. But if you have siblings, you're hiding that in your room. Now,
this is not entirely true. This year, for the very first time, my daughter turned her desk in her room into her Halloween storage. And I'm guessing this is because last year,
your son ate
her brother would cherry pick stuff from her bag. And I remember this happening. He'd be like, oh, I thought that was my bag. Sorry.
I remember every year my brother.
Like, how could you think that? It says her name right there on it. Yeah, I just wasn't looking. Like he had excuses.
For his birthday or Christmas, he would get a gift or a present. And I was like, oh man, I want that so bad. So then I'd go in my room. And I remember the first time I took him in there, I'm like, hey, Shane, pick anything out you want. I'll trade you for that jacket, or I'll trade you for that toy, or whatever it was, that Nintendo game, whatever. He goes, nope, not doing it. And so, I'm like, are you serious? You can have anything you want in here, anything. Nope. And he'd walk out of his room, and it would drive me absolutely nuts. And I remember getting into a full-on fight with him and wrestling, trying to get the game out of his hand. And we rolled down the stairs, hit the bottom of the stairs. What's at the bottom of the stairs? The wall. What's it made of? Sheetrock. What's it having it now? A big crack. Oh, my God. I got my ass kicked for that. I got my ass kicked for that. That was the last year that I tried to take something from my brother. And I didn't even try to steal it. I was trying to trade, but no, he was not going to have it.
And if you've ever been propositioned with a trade in fantasy football from Jeremy, you understand this, how his brother felt.
I just don't understand. You can have anybody on my team.
I want it, and you're not going to give it to me. I don't understand.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. Open at 6 a.m. on 93.3 KZZ.
So you remember the McDonald's law? It's very famous. Somebody sued McDonald's for $1 million. This is 3 decades old now. This is 3 decades ago that this happened. A woman in the 90s sued McDonald's because she spilled scalding hot coffee on her lap. It resulted in burns. She got awarded the $1 million, and who knows what she's doing now. Very similar to that. And this just happened the other day. Or I'm sorry, it happened on May 19th of 2023. So it's been a couple of years almost. This girl bought breakfast tacos from a place called Bill Miller Barbecue in San Antonio.
Okay.
And she got the breakfast tacos. Her and her sister got the breakfast tacos, pulled into a parking spot after going through the drive-thru to eat the breakfast taco. She reaches into the bag, grabs a container of barbecue sauce, and the barbecue sauce was in a plastic container, and it was hot, so hot that it caused her a reaction to drop it. She dropped it in her lap on her thigh, and it caused, it didn't say what kind of degree burns. It was 190 degrees. They went in and tested it, I guess. They said that Bill Miller Barbecue has a safety policy of cooking the sauce to no more than 165 degrees, but in this case had served it at nearly 190 degrees. It wasn't in a styrofoam container. It was in a plastic container. This caused her to drop it on her lap, and she sued Bill Miller Barbecue and was awarded $3 million. Now, I think Bill Miller Barbecue is going to appeal it because I don't know what Bill Miller Barbecue is, but it's not a behemoth like McDonald's. They probably can't afford just to fork over $1 million and keep business going as usual. So they decided to, they offered her, they said, listen, we'll pay for your medical bills, any wages that you get for lost work, and we'll clean your car where you spilt the barbecue sauce in the car. She refused to settle for that. And she was awarded nearly $3 million, $1.8 million for the damages, and then $900,000 for something else in the lawsuit. Do you think do you think this is as egregious as the coffee lawsuit?
It sounds to me like it is.
So you think this is petty then?
Yes.
That this is some of her fault. Like, I don't know about you. One, I've never put barbecue sauce on a taco, but maybe this is a San Antonio Tex-Mex thing. I have no idea. Two, I always realize that the food that I'm getting, or I'm assuming that the food I'm getting is hot, and sometimes I'll even feel in the bag and be like, oh, that's too hot to eat right now. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up and set it aside, let it cool down a little bit. That's like just the common sense part, right?
Of course, yeah.
To immediately pull into a parking spot and start chowing down on the tacos, grab the barbecue sauce as if to pour it on there and get burned by it, that's got to be a little bit on you. Like if it was like 5 minutes later or something like that, and it was still hot, then okay, I mean,
if the barbecue sauce had like some kind of chili pepper oil in it, and it burned your skin, you know what I mean? Like, how would it be edible, right? But
this is just temperature. But this is just temperature.
Yeah, exactly. But you know that when you buy something at a barbecue restaurant, when you get food, it's going to be hot, and you can burn yourself. That's like when they bring out the plate at the Mexican restaurant, and the guy's got the gloves on. He's like, "Hey, be careful, hot plate." Like, true. You shouldn't. I'm glad he tells me that, but I kind of know that by now. I know that the food coming out of the kitchen is going to be hot. And I still have to touch it. I'm like you. I'm like, yeah, let me see how hot it is. Oh, yeah, that sucker's hot. And they look at you like, did you think I was lying? No, I just wanted to see how hot it was. So now I know that I can't, I don't want to brush my arm up against it.
Is there ever a time you think, man, I wish the place would serve me too hot of stuff, and then I would just go ahead and...
No, because I don't believe in getting money that way.
There was this time I was in Santa Maria. And you know that there's that weird intersection right there in front of, I don't know what's there, McDonald's, there's an Applebee's, In-N-Out is across the way, Toys R Us used to be there, Costco used to be there, that little intersection there.
Yes.
So my light turns green and I start going, and then this like big tow truck like one of those, the big rig tow trucks with the big flatbed on it.
A rig?
A rig. He goes to make the turn onto the freeway and totally blows the red light and misses me by inches. And I'm like, whoa. And I swerved to get out of the way. And I was like, man, I could have had it on a pretty easy street if I would have let that guy hit me.
I don't know how fast he was going. You may not walk to get, may have died. But this is my your point.
This is my point on this one is your instincts end up like I don't understand
saving you.
How somebody could pick that up, spill it on their lap, and be like, "Oh, I'm going to sue this restaurant for whatever." Like that takes a different mindset. Like if I would have had the intestinal fortitude to sit in there and take the blow from the tow truck that was just flying through that intersection. And it would have been a glancing blow. I probably would have lived in hindsight. But I didn't. I swerved to get out of the way because I didn't want to die or have the opposite, inflict pain on myself.
So let me ask you this. Does it say how old the woman was?
19.
Oh, there you go.
What do you mean there you go?
Because kids nowadays aren't raised. They don't get out. They don't play. They don't see the world. They're sitting in with devices. They're sitting with devices
nowadays.
They just it's sad, and this is what happens, that she wouldn't know that barbecue sauce from a restaurant would be hot because she's only had it at home.
Or maybe she did know. She figured it out, and she's like, I'm going to hit Easy Street. I'm going to dump this on my lap.
Listen, if I had to put money on it, I'm going with mine. Not the fact that she was smarter than your average 19-year-old.
I mean, she pulled into that spot immediately after getting it so she could chow down on it. That's what the article says. It says she and her sister visited a Bill Miller barbecue restaurant in San Antonio on May 19th, 2023, and had pulled into a parking space after going through the drive-thru to chow down on their breakfast tacos. This is why tacos should not be served in drive-thrus, by the way. Nobody drives and eats the tacos.
That's the thing, is people like this that are so dumb are going to make it so the rest of us can have a breakfast taco. That pisses me off.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111 911.